crafters, and welcome to Creative Moments by G. I'm G, and so happy that you're with us today. We are going to create together a bendy card. It's a fun fold that is so easy to create. We'll create one, and then I have two to show you. So let's head down to the crafting table and let's get creative. Now, I want to show you what a bendy card looks like. So we have a belly band to help it close. You take off the belly band, and then when you pop it open, look how it bends. It's called a bendy card. Now, I'm not going to show you the front of this because I want to show you at the end, so make sure that you stay with us. So let's get creative. Okay, the first thing you need to do is grab you a piece of cardstock. We're going to use pumpkin pie as well as pecan pie as our brown. We're going to use basic white. We're also going to use these two stamp sets, Fruitful Blessings and Rustic Crate, and these are for our sentiments. Now, for our actual images, we're going to use a beautiful sunflower stencil set. But let's go ahead and cut our bendy card, our base card. And to do that, take out your Stampin' Up! Trimmer, go ahead and extend the arm. We need to have it 8.5 by 5.5. We're going to make some score lines. So we know that this is already 8.5, so we're going to turn it long ways and cut it 5.5. And then we're going to turn it long ways and we're going to do some score lines. So let's go ahead and score at 2 1/8 on each side. So here's 2 1/8. I'm going to flip it and do 2 1/8. And then now I'm just going to scoot it over and score the middle, which is 4 1/4. And now we have our card. So let's go ahead and get this folded. Bring in our bone folder, give it a good score in the middle. And now we are simply going to score our gatefold flaps. And you can now see where it gets the bendy, because look at this. This goes backwards and creates that center pop out for us. Now, we need to go ahead and make a couple panels. I went ahead and I cut the inside panels, and look at this beautiful embossed area. Look at that. How pretty is that? I use this 3D embossing folder, cane weave, and it is so pretty and so appropriate for this card because it's kind of a fall card. Now, you can go ahead and just lay this down. Now, if you wanted to, you could have these two panels white and you could write your message. Or, like what we're going to do, we're going to put some white panels on the back so that you can write your message. But let's just go ahead and get our panels laid down right here on the outside. Don't do your inside yet, and I'll show you why in just a minute. So let's make sure we have these turned the right way. And because these are 3D, you want to make sure and get enough glue squished down in those crevices. Now, the reason I didn't put the panels down here is that we are going to create a little bendy right there, and you can tuck your edges in right behind that, or you can put them on the front. But let's go ahead and get that created before we start on the front panels, because we're doing something special for our front panels. Now, we need to go ahead and cut a piece of pecan pie to match this, and that is going to be 1 5 1/8. So I just have a strip of paper here, and I'm going to make sure it's 1 inch. Let's just get that cut. And I want to remind everyone, you don't have to take down the measurements. You can just head over to creativemomentsbyg.com, click on my blog, and we will have all the measurements and supplies for you. And now we need to cut the length 5 1/8. We need to make a couple score lines. So we're going to score on each side just 1/2 inch. So go ahead and flip it, score 1/2 inch on the other side. Now you can go ahead and just run this through the embossing folder or just leave it blank because we are going to cover this up with some images. So I'm just folding that in just like this, and I'm going to put glue right here so I can glue it down right where I want it, and then I can just slip this underneath. Let's put glue on this side, and I can go back in and add some more glue. I'm not worried about that. Okay. And like I said, you do not have to put these little tabs underneath if you don't want to. But I want to, so I'm just going to slip it underneath right here. And I'm going to get some glue on these little tabs. I'm going to put a little bit more glue here. And now just slip it underneath. Get it positioned right in the center or wherever you need it based on the images that you're going to use. Okay. And look at that. See how it bends? Perfectly. Okay, now we're going to work on the front of our card on our panels. So we are bringing in a 1/2 piece of cardstock. I'm going to go ahead and put down a piece of paper because we're probably going to stamp off just a little bit. And I am using this beautiful plaid builder stamp. It is a full stamp. It stamps the background. And I am going to stamp it in pumpkin pie. So that's the first color I'm going to bring in. Notice how I'm taking the ink to the stamp because it's so large. I want to make sure that I get it all over. So let's just go ahead and ink this up really well. Okay, I'm going to turn it over and just push it down. Let that ink transfer to the cardstock. Look at that. Now you can use your stamp apparatus if you want it to be a little darker, but I'm not worried about that. Now you need to clean this off. So a great tip is just bring in some wipes. I try to use the ones without the oil so I don't get my stamps oily. And I just go over, making sure that you get in those little squares right there on this particular stamp. And give it a minute to dry. And now I'm going to bring in Old Olive, and I'm going to stamp Old Olive in these areas right here. So I'm going to move it over just a little bit. Once again, because it is a large background stamp, I'm taking the ink pad to the stamp. And this is a great technique whenever you have a background stamp. Now I'm just turning it over and I'm going to line up these lines. And look at that. Look how pretty that is. Now for the front panels, I need to cut strips. So let me cut that into the strips, and the strips are the same size. They are 5 1/4 by 1 7/8. So I cut these panels, and we're going to add them right to the front. Look how pretty that looks. Okay, so we have our outside panels already on. We have our inside bendy mechanism already fixed. So now all we need to do is decorate our images for the inside and the outside and our belly band. So what I need to do is bring in a piece of cardstock, and I am going to begin using the stencil. Now, I have been playing with this stencil, so it is a beautiful stencil, and I'm going to take this first stencil from Stampin' Up. Now, you see how it's notched right there? And I'm just going to place it right in the corner so that I have it exactly where I want it, remembering that the notch is right there because the rest of the stencils will match up to that. So let's go ahead and bring in our pumpkin pie. And I'm going to stencil with very heavy pressure. So I'm going to keep my index finger right here on this brush because I want it to be a bright, vibrant color. Now, sometimes I use painter's tape to go ahead and tape it, but for this stencil, I can go ahead and just hold it in place. So I'm going to close that, lift this off, and look how pretty that is. Just gorgeous. Now I'm going to bring in the insert, and I'm going to once again line this notch up. You can see that notch right there. And I'm just going to put it right at the top so that I have it exactly where it's supposed to be in the middle. Now I'm going to bring in pecan pie. Kind of medium pressure. I'm going to take that off. Look how pretty that looks. And now I'm going to bring in the final stencil for the flower. I'm putting this notch right here up at the top, lining it up, and I'm going to use the pecan pie but apply really heavy pressure because I want it to be really dark. And look at that. Look at how beautiful that is. I love these stencils. Look at this. So pretty. Now we need to bring in our leaves, and I'm just going to use Old Olive to do a little stenciling for our leaves. So I'm just going to stencil some more because I need several leaves. So let me just go ahead and get another big one. Get a couple smaller ones. And now I'm going to cut these out. Okay, I have all these cut out. I cut out an extra small one to put on the inside. I have my leaves. And now for the front of the card, we need to have a belly band. So let's get that cut out. Bring in your cardstock, extend your arm, bring in your cardstock and cut a 1-inch strip. And now we're going to cut it at 9.5. We're going to bring in our card and just put it around the card so that we have it evenly distributed. Okay, I'm going to bend this over. And we can just add our tape runner right here to close this. Now, we want to bring out this area right here, so we went ahead and we just cut a 3/4 by 4 little strip and we embossed it to match what's on the inside. So let's just go ahead and lay that down. And now the rest of it, it's all about assembling all the images just to create this beautiful bendy card. So let's just think about the front. Now the front, I cut out 3 nesting squares. And these squares start at 2 3/4, 2 1/2, and 2 1/4. And on the front, I'm just going to layer them with dimensionals. Take the backing off and just add it to the front of my pecan pie cardstock. And now I want to go ahead and layer this on dimensionals because I want that belly band to really pop. And now I'm going to add my flowers just like this and add some leaves on it. Add it on a few dimensionals. And I'm adding it on some dimensionals so that I can add my leaves behind these beautiful sunflowers. Going to add a leaf right here with some glue. And look at that. Look at how pretty that looks. So pretty. Now we're going to add this to the front of our card just like this. So I'm just going to add some glue right here. Okay, we're going to set this to the side because we need to decorate the inside now. And I went ahead and I cut our squares. These squares are just a little bit bigger. So I started this one at 3, 2 3/4, and 2 1/2. Because I'm going to stamp a message here and then I'm going to add the flowers. So let's go ahead and stamp our message. Grateful for you. And I'm going to stamp a few speckles around this card. So I want to go ahead and lay this down. I'm going to bring in crumb cake so it's a really light bunch of speckles and just speckle this. Look how pretty that looks. Get a few down there. Now, the flowers, I'm just going to add just like this, and I'm going to glue them down to this piece of paper because it is on the inside of the card, and we don't want to add a lot of height to the inside of the card. But I'm just putting the glue right on the middle part so that I can slip these leaves underneath it, just like that. And now we can just add our mats down using our adhesive. Now the final part is creating the actual bendy mechanism. And that is simply the wobble. And the wobble is cut 1 by 3. And then we have a few score lines to make. So we're going to score at 1/2 inch. 1 inch. Keep moving it. We're going to score at 2 inches and 2.5. Now, the way you fold this wobble is you fold down and back, down and back. And it creates this cute little wobble. So we're going to use our tape runner and put some tape right here, and then just adhere it to the front of our bendy right there. So I'm going to bring in my silicone mat. Just use my tape runner to get some tape on this. Hold it closed and just add it to the center. Look at that. You see how it is? Okay. Now all we have to do is add this right to the center of the card. So I'm going to put some tape right here. And I already stamped another message. Look at this one, blessed beyond measure, that I'm going to just put right here on my belly band. And I'm going to use mini dimensionals for that. Now let's put our belly band on. To make it easy, I'm just slipping my fingers right here on the inside. And look at that. So pretty. Here is the card. Let's open it up so we can see. You open it up and look at that. So easy to create. You have plenty of room to write here on the back. Now you can put white panels. We have those cut for the back, so let's just go ahead and add those. Or if you have a light colored card, you could go ahead and just leave it because they'll be able to write on the back with a light colored card. So here is our bendy that we made Now let's bring out this little bee again that I showed you earlier. Look at the decorations on this. Slipping it off, and when you go to open it up, we have our Bendy, and look at that cute little card. So cute. And finally, look at this beautiful Christmas card. Now on this one, all we did was take our squares and turn them diagonally. It's the same measurement. We decorated the front with some beautiful dies. Use some beautiful DSP, and when you open it up, there's the bendy part, and look at that. Once again, the tip is to slip your fingers right here on the inside of your belly band, and it slips right over. We'll take a moment and leave a comment. Which is your favorite? The fall, the bee, or the Christmas? There are so many possibilities with this card. Well, thank you so much for spending your time with us as we created together this Bendy card. We hope that you were inspired, and if you were, take a moment, give us a thumbs up, and share with your friends. Well, Monty and I want you to go out and make it a fantastic day, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.